All right, let's go. So. Hey, onegaishimasu. Okie dokie. So we'll just start again. Working on this vertical. Just crank the body up a little bit. Checking all the joints. Play with the arms a little bit, just kind of shaking them out. And raise them up as well. Yes. Everything's loose. Knees are quite free. You start to make the body heavier and heavier, so start to work on a quality of kind of releasing through the body. Just try and feel the weight of the whole body. And try and work on this idea, it's like you want to stack the body all the way through. So from the top of the head down to the feet. Imagine you kind of just stack the whole body. You play with the feet, just kind of like impacting the ground a little bit. Yes. Good. And then just keeping the feet, they are, into front and back. And really focusing on mobilizing the chest. So this whole area. Just play with, you've got these two kind of positions, like a kind of pigeon chest, like a kind of turtle back. So you've got these kind of two extremes for the chest. Just kind of play with these. Again, like yesterday, just notice as you come forward and as you draw the body back, what that does to the balance, your sense of balance. And what effect it has, but mainly on the feet. Just kind of feel what happens in the feet as you draw the body forward. And just play with. Bringing the body out of balance. Back into the center. Out of balance. Back into the center. Just really play with it. Sit. No, sit nice. Great. Okay. And this is a kind of imaginary one, but imagine you've got someone in the room and they've got you by the arms like this, just to the front. Imagine they're going to kind of tug the arms. So there's a feeling like they tug the arm out. Now I want you to feel what happens, what would probably happen naturally is you would get tugged out and then the hips would pull back. So I'd go into like a counterbalance. I would go like good, and this. I'd try and prevent them from pulling me over. So just feel that one first. It's like dun, dun. This kind of happens. So I'm trying to kind of pull the body away from what's happening. So this is a kind of resistance, but it's just the way the kind of body will naturally kind of fall back. So just feel that this is like the body gets and dun, dun. Just coming down into quite a light squat. Just feel the kind of body's going to kind of draw. That's it. Yeah, good. That's it. Okay, and then the next few, just feel that you get drawn out of balance. So think if you were totally taken by surprise, you didn't have the kind of milliseconds to kind of start to counterbalance before it happened, and that the arms just get drawn out. So the center gets kind of pulled away from itself. Now just feeling it. So it's like I've got to kind of do it myself. I can't rely on someone else to do it for me. But just get the sense it's like that, and the center getting dragged away. And just take a few steps out of it. But really feel that you kind of drag yourself out. And then you've got this feeling of like falling off a cliff. You've got to kind of and then you're already gone. If you see if you can kind of feel that, you're going to kind of purposely throw yourself out of balance. That's it. Yeah, good. That's it. Okay, cool. Hey, Bettina.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good. Okay, now do the same one. It's like a mix of the two. I don't want to resist the movement, and I don't want to just let my body be pulled away. What I want to do is let that movement kind of pass through the spine and out through the feet. So most of us do this because we're used to kind of taking BOKKEN in Aikido, but just feel that there's the center gets drawn out. There's a feeling that I want to soften to the ground. So you can do something a little bit more dynamic now. It's like but I'm going to totally get back to the body. So you go with the push, you go with it. I don't pull back, but I don't let the body go. I try and receive it boom, straight down into the ground. So there's a moment where I get drawn out and I draw it back. And just feel that what you would normally do in terms of Aikido, what you would go into the arm. So I would go into this kind of position and I would go into the forward roll. If it was an extreme kind of out, I would go into the arm to do it. But just in this case, just feel that you can kind of get drawn down, come into the hands, draw back to the base, and then come in. And just play with how much you go forward. So obviously sometimes throw yourself too far, and sometimes throw yourself not enough. So just feel there's always this kind of balance. And the kind of sweet spot is where I feel like I'm going with it, but I'm joining it in balance. So just play a little bit with that. So it's a little bit dynamic, using the hands. That's it. Yeah, Bernie, good. And as much as you can get in a way sense that this is like a surprise for the body. So it's almost like your own body doesn't see it coming. You've got to get this kind of thing, which is quite difficult, but that's it. That's it. Just do the same thing with the arms out, just going side to side. So again, it's as if there's like two people in the room now, and they're kind of pulling you out, pulling you out, pulling you out. And just feel the first time, just feel the whole body just kind of go with it. So just a dun. So it's like the body's not woken up yet. It's just at a dun. It's just going to go with it. With both sides. It's like a kind of tug of war between the shoulder blades. And again, just explore the balance in the body. So the weight goes over one leg. Just feel there'll be a moment when the weight goes so far, the limb will lock. And then I can't step. So I need to move the whole body with it. So there's a moment where you'll get trapped in the foot. So just try and feel that. It's also interesting in terms of balance work. To feel that, then I'm trapped. That's when the body will usually go and try and catch itself. And by then it's too late. So I've already done it. Just play a little bit with that. There we go. Good. Good. And then just play the opposite. Is like I'm going to counterbalance it. So as the arm goes out, the body's going to kind of pull away. This is almost natural. It's like this kind of kid that doesn't want to go to bed. It's like you grab them and then they kind of they go heavy, and they're kind of in a way they're counterbalancing the whole body away from you. So just try and get this kind of feeling. It's like good. It's a little bit more difficult now because you're working on a sideways line, but you basically need to take the whole weight of the body into the other foot. And what I'm actually doing now, if the person was to release the arm, you're out of balance. So I'm counterbalancing the action, but I'm actually throwing myself out of balance to do it. So this is, again, it's like a non-functional, not entirely functional way of moving the body or working with pressure. So probably kind of there and there. And it's like the more the arm goes away from me, the more I draw the hips away from the arm. There. Okay. There we go. And then again, just do the same thing where you're going to kind of find this middle way where it's like you get that and then you kind of blend with it. So again, I let it happen, and then I flow with it. So feel free to like move the body as well. But again, the main thing is like the sense of balance. I don't want to feel like the body gets kind of drawn out and then I'm last minute trying to follow it. What I want to do is like follow it with the center from the start there, which is quite tricky, but just give it a play. It's like that. The arm gets drawn, and feel like in this case you're working much more with a spiral. It's much more complex now. You've got like the center's going to meet and join it. Yeah. So just do this kind of slow, and do a few fast. But the feel's like I'm going to join straight into it. So join it with the whole body, and then there. There we go. That's it. Yeah. Good. Nice. Okay, then we go to a rotation. So what I want to feel is like this. You've got this motion, but really feel again you've got two people surrounding you, or just one that's quite active. They're going to kind of move around the body, and they're just going to push the shoulders. So just feel that you've got like this, and imagine they're going to start quite light. They're going to kind of very light contact. So the shoulders just get kind of rolled. I can just roll it, absorb it. So very light. And then just imagine increasingly they start to push more. So they start to push harder, and then you'll get like these kind of motions. And the first few just feel like you get kind of again kind of swung out. So so if I don't expect it, the body will probably either get drawn out, or it will, if I anticipate it, I'm going to go into resistance, and then I go stiff to kind of receive it. So just notice, just imagine someone's there pushing. Yeah. You can do this as actively as you like. Just feel it. The shoulders get pushed, pulled out, and just work different directions as well. Let the body come down. Let the body come out to the back. Yeah. Good. And these are still mobilization exercises, but also just focusing a little bit on the idea of pressure. So what we do to receive pressure, which is really one of the key things in Aikido. Good. And then just make it quite extreme. So again, keep the kind of heaviness. But again, I want you to kind of feel that you meet it with a spiral. So there's a sense of now, there's a push on the body, like bang, and then I meet it with the center. So again, it's letting the whole body absorb the force and take it into the ground. So what you're doing now is really like spiraling into the ground. Spiraling into the ground. And just play with this, like the push comes to the front, like this, or the push comes from the back. Yeah, let's play with it a little bit. And just focusing on absorbing down. Feel the force will just go down to the ground through the lower body. Back down. Again, just make it as extreme as you like. So go right to the ground. Let the hands touch the ground. Okay, now just imagine the people, they've got shoulder contact. Now they can go anywhere on the body. So I want you to kind of mobilize the whole body. And basically, you can start like feeling like they push the head. They can pull the arms out. They can go to the hip. They can go to the leg, go to the foot. And just feel you basically work up and down the body or in and out of the body. But basically just imagine the people basically trying to take the limbs out of the stretcher. And when I'm constantly feel a few times like the stretcher gets taken out. The stretcher gets taken out in the head. The stretcher gets taken out of the leg. And just feel what that's like. Just listen to the body in that case. And then just start to feel that you can start to meet it with a kind of centralized body movement. So the head, and then meet it. And meet it. And meet it. Just going to mobilize everything. Make sure you work the legs as well. So let the legs come out of the ground a little bit. That's it. And you're kind of mobilizing the structure at the same time. And there we go. That's it. That's it. Good, good, good. Okay, good. So we're going to go to a swing position. This takes no imagination whatsoever. So in this case, you just raise up, swing down, raise up, swing down. I'm just playing with this. And what you're trying to get now is like the mobilization that you've just got through the whole body. Just try and kind of allow it to find a structure now. So you're really dropping down into a solid structure. Just playing with the swing. Again, make it as dynamic as you want. If you feel like it, go to like a full drop through. So you can let the arms kind of swing behind the back. Raise up. There. But all the time feel that the structure's constantly falling into itself. So constantly into the base. And the main quality in this, as well as like mobility, is like heaviness. So try and feel a kind of heaviness in the whole body. There we go. That's it. Good. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, good. So just watch one thing in this case. So try in a way, imagine the body split into two. So I've got the belt on. I imagine that the body split from this upper part and the lower part. Now it's not quite that. It's not like a black and white thing, but have the sense that the upper body is very light, very loose, so that the feeling in the upper body is like, and the feeling in the upper body is like, so the feeling in my upper body is like I want to hit a weight, so there's like what I'm feeling with the lower body is like pressure, like this. But what I want to do is allow the upper body to be very released through it. So you've got these kind of dual kind of aspects in the body. You've got the heaviness that comes from the base and the lower body, and I want to match it with a looseness from the upper body. What I don't want to do is mix the two, so kind of, or a kind of looseness through everything. So try and put the flexibility in the upper body, and try and put a kind of heaviness in the lower body. So it's like the engine if the body is the lower body, lower back, butt, hips, all the kind of carriage of the body, and that's going to give you a heaviness. Let's see if you can kind of also meet it with this kind of softness in the hands and in the arms. That's it. Good. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. We're going to do a different one, which is working the shoulders. So I'll show the full motion, and then we'll kind of break it down a little bit. We're going to go this. We're going to kind of swing the hands over into a circle. But I just wanted to start just the first one, just doing this motion. So this is about kind of splitting the shoulders, front and back. I'm just going to kind of swing them through. So very similar exercise. And again, try and keep a sense of heaviness in the upper body and quite soft in the heaviness in the lower body, softness in the upper body. I'm just going to swing them front and back. And the key thing now is you're doing something different in the hips. So before you were doing just this, and now you're really doing this. So there's a kind of sway happening in the hip. That's it. Just let the arms kind of drag forwards, backwards. Because we tend to be quite frontally focused, see if you can really open the back side. So the back arm that comes out, really focus on opening this side out. And what you're looking for is really, again, something we talked about yesterday is like really being in the middle of the posture, right in the middle of the base, and spreading equally front and back. So good. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, and all I want you to do is feel that you're going to increase the rotation in the spine, in the hips, this, and then what that will do is just let the arms go up further. So in this case, try and avoid swinging the arms up by themselves, but get a sense that the hips catch the hands as they come past, and just make the rotation a little bit stronger from the hip, and the arms will start to kind of fly out and back down. And just work the arms up, and eventually work up so that you've got the hands just falling onto the center line of the head. So they're going to come to this kind of position, and then let them drop down. That's it. That's it. Great, great, great. That's it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to combine this movement with the last movement, with the drop. So what you're going to do is now we did this movement, and now we're doing this movement. So what I want you to do is feel that you draw over, come to the center, and then drop it down. And then you can take the other side, so you draw, and back to the center and drop it down. So you go, and you can do both sides. You'll probably find one side easier than the other. But we'll just work from a kind of neutral position. Draw the hands out, gather them above the head, and then drop them down. So you've got two swings mixed together. Okay. Yeah, true. That's it. Good, good, good. Nice. That's it. Very good. Okay, take Bokken. So we'll do a bit more. And just start from yesterday, just playing with the raise. So just from the center, raising the sword up, just to kind of get back into this kind of idea of raising the sword up from the ground. Just play with one hand. And again, what I want to do is like create again this kind of connection. So this kind of swinging motions and these kind of draining down, swinging down motions. What I want to do is to try and really access those. So this kind of idea of like the limbs very supple and the connection's quite strong to the sword. So the grip can be quite firm. Just get the finger raising from below. And just play with both sides. Again, just trying to catch this connection between the hip and the hand. There. Just play a little bit with the sword. That's it. That's it. Also feel free to open it out to the back, so this motion as well. This motion that we've got. We don't tend to do this so much with the sword, but it's also it's a nice movement to kind of play with. There. And just note the difference now that you've got an object in their hand, the difference it makes with the movement. Your sense of balance, you're loaded onto one side much more weight. Just feel the body's going to kind of meet it. It's going to meet the sword. There we go. Good. And then just playing with both hands on the sword, keeping the feet down and just working with this. So very light, just raising and letting the sword lower to the ground. And then just trying to work the structure in a way that's totally efficient. So it should feel like you're doing really nothing. If it feels like I'm doing nothing, it's probably in the right area. So it should feel very effortless. The sword should feel really weightless. Just play with this raising, lowering, raising, lowering. There we go. Good. And just see if you can basically find the balance point of the sword now. So you're going to really draw the sword up to here, and then it's basically in the spine. Feel that it's locked in the spine, and then it won't really want to go anywhere. And then just feel very, very slightly increase the movement down, the sword goes. So what I want to do is really have the sense that I'm controlling the sword. It's like that. The sword wants to fall at some point, but I'm going to do it by just engaging the hip. So there's a very slight move, like done, and then the sword's going to drop. And then I want to align the body behind that. So just feel that there's 2 points with this. You draw it up with the hip, find this kind of position, sort of balance, and then to make the sword go down, hip goes, hip goes, hip goes. Just try and find that. Just the kind of balance point of the sword. Okay, good. Nice, nice. Nice. Yeah. Good, and then from this position, just take it all the way to the back. So you go straight to the back. Now, the purpose of this movement is there's a lot of purposes for it, but today I just want you to focus on the grip. So there's a key thing in the grip that I want to be here, very sealed to the grip. Now, at the point as I go to find the back, I need to release the grip with the hand, so I need to release it. If I keep the grip, what happens is this, and again, you can just do this on your own. Feel it. If I keep the grip firm on the sword, it will do this to the shoulders, so it will close the whole structure down. And if I do this, I feel the throat goes bang, the back of the neck goes like this, and the shoulder blades also not like tie themselves up. So I feel the whole body going to constriction. This is possible if you do like this. Oh, but even then, I'm basically opening the body up too far. So just feel what it's like if you keep the grip as it is. Go to the back, and you probably just feel totally uncomfortable. And for me, the throat gets kind of blocked. It's like I can't breathe, and I want to get out of it very quickly. And then just do the next few, and really feel the necessity as you go over. The hands are very soft. And then I want you to feel like you should feel totally free in this position, totally comfortable. Nothing's blocked, the shoulders are open, the elbows are heavy, all the throat, the neck's extended, everything's free. And then just feel you can just drop through it. So just feel that you get to a position, start in this position, quite like we did yesterday, with a very strong grip, good connection. And then just feel that as you want to move, you need to release the hands. Right to the back, and then just drop it down. Nice, nice, nice. Just notice one thing. I'm kind of. It's easy for me to get into this position because I'm completely flexible in the upper body. So one of the tendencies in this case is to like do something like this, where I'm doing this. So I'm like basically in a way I'm arcing the back too far and like pulling the chest out. So what's happening is like this. Now this, if I do this, the whole lower back goes again into tension. But what I want to feel in this case is like the whole structure just sits down. So feel like it's like putting a coat on a rack on a hanger. It's just kind of a room. So that the whole structure should feel like it's releasing down, like a kind of waterfall. It's got this kind of feeling. And I want to feel that the sword's right in the back, but I don't want to again feel like I'm in a kind of tension position. Yeah, just feel again that heaviness in the lower body, and the upper body's quite light, very relaxed. And again, I want to feel now it's like the hip can engage the movement and just join with it. That right to the back, very relaxed. So this whole movement now should feel like tension free. And just make it as easy as possible for the body. And just notice what's happening in the spine. I don't want to kind of hyperextend it to the front. Yeah. Let it still sink back. Yeah. Let it drop. That's still great. Very nice. Very nice. Nice. There we go. And you're going to come into hemi, so come into a right stance, just with the sword, and just get this kind of sense with the coordination. Find the back, and then just swinging through with the sword. Again, just notice what's happening with the balance in the feet. Should be kind of tension free, mostly. Just coming back. And again, try and access this kind of feeling where you're really comfortable. Like a long, tall, heavy column. And you just engage the hips. Notice especially now a kind of tightness, maybe in the knees, maybe in the feet. And just see if you can release it each time, more and more. And the more of the structure I can just release into the ground, the more I'm kind of going to align to the cut. Oh, that's it, very nice. Very nice. Good. Good. Okay, and just very lightly, just coming out to the back, find the cut, and then what I want to do is an extra step. I just want to release the arms through the ground. So you're doing kind of the same thing. You're just going to very lightly focus into the cut. So I want to feel that the hips are engaged, the sword's kind of come to a stop, and then just find if you can release the arms and just feel what happens to the body. Now, if I'm in the base, if I'm quite comfortable, nothing will really happen in the body. The arms can just release and the body can just kind of drop through its structure. If I'm not really in the balance, as I come forward, I drop the arms, the body will want to come back to balance itself. So just notice what happens now between the cut and the dropping to the ground. See what happens in the rest of the body. And then what I'm looking for really in this kind of training is like stability. So I'm really looking for the body to be very relaxed, really stable. So it shouldn't feel the need to rebalance. A little bit. Just be really kind of honest with yourself. It's the best way. It's like that. As I go back, and the body's loaded to the front a little bit. I'm just going to go back. That's it. Nice. Nice, nice. Just see if you can notice what happens just the moment after the cut. So after you kind of focus in the cut, just notice what happens in the body. So you go to here, I can get there, and then the hips aren't quite stable. And then there's kind of a wobble, and then I release it. So it's also interesting because that motion of releasing through the structure will need stable hips. So in any way, you'll get to stable hips. So if you do this movement, this is why it's kind of interesting. If I do this, I'm actually stuck in the hips. In order to release the arms, I've got to make the hips stable again and then drop them. But that's like a micro movement that I make. Now I want you to kind of notice the body on that kind of level. Just notice the stability in the hips. So this happens almost all the time. We're all doing it, but it's like the hips aren't really stable. Now they're stable, and then I drop. See if you can stabilize the hips just before the cut. So what I want to have the feeling is like the hips reach the ground now. Here, and then the cut comes into it, and then I release the arms. So again, it's about making the hips and the lower body really the power source, and that means that they need to be stable before this happens. So you're going to just focus a little bit, stable here, release, stable. So just see if you can get this. See if you're basically going to reach into the ground with the hips first, and the arm comes into it. So again, it's focusing on the center, the core. Oh, great. And just letting it go. Great, very good. That's it. Very nice. That's it. And again, it's like a lot of this work is like it's not doing more stuff, it's doing less. So it's allowing the structure to do what it would naturally do and not trying to interfere with it, which is totally difficult. To just let things be as they are. This is the hardest thing in the world, one of the hardest things. So just let the structure sit into itself. That's really tricky. Yeah, good. All right, good. Okay, we're going to go now to Zengo. So just come into the back. You're going to cut on the right side, and then I want you to focus now this kind of relaxation. I want you to take it this way to the back, and then cut on the left side. And then just keep going with this. So once you're into it, just keep cutting right and left. But you start in a way with this one, go to the back, cut down, find yourself really stable, and then go into the rotation all the way to the back, cut on the left side, and back. And once you're in, just keep going. If you feel you lose the connection, just stop and start again. There you go. Super, very good. Great. Okay, good. So the rotations are really interesting movement. I really love these rotations and studying them. So when you do this one, just watch this doesn't happen. As you go through, try not to pull the hips back that way. So try not to kind of split the body as you do it. The sword work's really great because it's super essential. So what I want to do is make this as easy as possible for the body. So what I want to feel as you make the rotation is that the body doesn't go anywhere. So it doesn't go back into the space. It just pivots down. So in this case, feel that the center is just kind of constantly bunk. That. And it's not that the hips aren't engaging constantly, but what I don't want to do is shift the body into space. It's possible to do these, but they're a lot more complicated. So just think about the center. Basically pick a spot on the ground where the center is just going to hit each time. And in the rotation too. So try and make it as like minimalist as possible. Do as little movement. Do only like essential movements in the rotation. Give it a try. Good. Good. And again, it's about hip stability, especially during the rotation. This is like crucial. So the more I can stabilize through the structure, the better. Okay, take a different approach. Go to the footwork. So don't worry about the hips. Just think about the feet. So again, all the time we're training compression patterns in the feet. So what I'm really training in this case, or one of the things you're training, in a sense, is how to compress the weight through the ground. Now, to make the rotation from this position, where I'm equal in the feet, I need to compress the structure through one foot. So in that case, I'm placing the structure into this foot, this. So I'm pressing down and then I'm adjusting that foot. So that compression will release this foot. So this happens. And then what I do is compress into the back foot again. So you've got like down, 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 this, and then I compress into this foot and then press it down 50-50. So you've got this compression pattern where you're going dong, 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 run. But first I need to compress the weight through the back leg, that, which will release the sword this way. Now, if at that point I'm moving the hips, I split the body. So this is why this is really important. You go like, clang. If you think about shihonage, all these kind of movements, I need to compress the structure through one leg, and then press it through. So you go from this 50-50, taking the weight down. And again, just feel the structure drop. Drop and drain, drop and drain. And if you like, just practice the footwork. So forget about the sword, just practice the feet. But there's a moment when I need to make a decision. I'm going back, compress, compress. I want to go back, compress down, compress down. And that happens on the spot, basically. It doesn't really require movement too much. Good. Just let the weight fall back. That's it. There we go. That's it. Nice, Keith. Nice, nice. Good. Yeah, great. Nice. Nice. Good. And we'll go to number 2 again, like we did yesterday. And again, just go into the movement, do the first few just to get back into it. So you're coming back, finding the back, cutting down, coming back into Kamae. So the first few just get into the Subari. Coming back, drawing, cutting down. Nice. Good. Okay, so just focus on one thing in this, which is the triangular posture. So the hammy as we do it. So the fusaburi in a way is like the way to, in a way, like hammer the hammy into the body. So it's really like a triangular posture, and each time I'm really pressing into this kind of triangle shape with the front hip. Bang. It's got this kind of quality. Now, as you go to 2, there's a risk that it's a more complex movement. So there's a risk that I start to do this kind of movement where the hips basically stay square on all the time. But in this case, see if you can really open and pivot with the hip. So you've got a sense as you do this, like the back movement rolls out in the body. And then this movement really like coils through. So it's got much more of a triangular quality. Later, it's got a kind of spiral quality, but for now, just think about a kind of triangle. So you're going to wedge the hips back, and then press the hips through, like this. So just give this a try. And again, play with the sword, play not with the sword, with or without the sword. Focus on this hip work. So it's got a really much more flexible quality into it. I'm really taking a kind of triangular posture with the hip. And then forward, pass it through. And that's it. That's it. This is a really great hip exercise if I do it in a way which is really kind of full. That's it, Nick. Good. Great. Very nice. Very nice.
Where is the triangle?
Where's the triangle? If you think about the back of the body, like the wedge of the back end of the triangle. Now I think of the front of the body, the toes, and the bokken as the tip. So if you think about, I'm trying to show it in the feet.
Is it on the ground?
If you think it's like a 4-dimensional triangle or a 5-dimensional triangle. So it's not necessarily a shape, but it's also a feeling. So I have a feeling of being a triangle, if that makes any sense. The best way of meaning this is like a wedge, which is like something wide at the back and narrow, pointy at the front. So my feeling in the kamae with a kamae like this is like the whole back of the body is the back of the triangle. And then the front of the body, where the sword would be and where the foot is or where the hand would be, is like the tip of the triangle. So you've got this kind of run through the whole structure. Now it's happening all the way through the body. So the kind of hips adopt a kind of and the feet adopt a kind of triangular stance. But you've got this basically this like a wedge running through the back. Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe not.
Yeah. So it's in the shoulders. Maybe they are the one line of the triangle, and with this
exactly. If you think about the shoulders like this, it's like a really like a strange kind of triangle. If you think about this as like the back line of a triangle, I'm going to draw it like this. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's see. Oh, maybe you can't see it. This kind of triangle, if you think about this,
yes,
and I want to feel like that part with the wiggly line. That part's like the back, the brace of the body. So it's the shoulders, the hips, the back foot, all this kind of anchor of the body. So this is like the anchor of the triangle. And then if you think about the tip, that part, that like wedge of the body is the front of the body. So that includes like the toes, the front of the hand, but also my feeling out. So my feeling's going to kind of extend out this way. So it's really got a sense like a kind of triangle. Now what I'm looking to do on Aikido is like take that triangle and wedge it into the other person. Like a kind of boom. So I'm looking to kind of take my center mass and like press it through the other person. So if you think about something like Nikyo, like I've got a front and then I make a point in the person and then I pass it through them. Or any kind of technique where we're looking at that. But this kind of sense is like in the sword, it's actually really clear because I've got a really pointy object in front of me, so I can really like have a feeling of wedging the whole body behind it. So I create it there and then, and then I pass it through. Hopefully.
Yeah. Thanks.
Got it? Okay. Cool. Great.
Yeah.
I have to explain it to myself sometimes. Good.
Michael?
Oh.
But the bokken stays online, so the arc is on the line,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, if you think about the center line of the body, the sword's just going to pass through it all the time, but the hips are going to stay flexible around it. So the hips are really, in a way, flexible, and the sword's going to pass on this line, this way. So it's going to kind of, the sword's going to like cut straight through the center line.
So in this case, the bokken does not follow the hips.
It follows the hips and it's anchored in the hips, but it's not going to be, it's not locked into the hips. So if I was to lock this into if I was to lock this structure into the hip, as I move the hip, it would do that.
Yeah.
And then it would do that. But basically, I want this to be kind of free. So it's anchored in the hip work, but it's not gonna be locked into it. So in a sense, what the sword's doing is following the center, not necessarily the hips. So the hips are governing the center, and the hands of it. This is all following the center line.
Yeah. Yes. Now it is absolutely clear. Thank you.
There we go. There we go. Super duper. Nice. Okay, we're going to look at number 3. I changed my bokken because I've got a really low ceiling. I'm going to make lots of holes. So what I want you to do with number 3, if you don't know it, just follow me. So if you know it, just kind of get into it. And the first few, for this one, for number 3, is you've got 3 movements. You roll back, stretch up, roll the body up, drop the hips down, press the sword into the back leg, goes to the back hip here, and then you release the cut over the top of the head, step forward and find the strike, and then just come back into combine. So the movement itself has 3 moves. Goes 1, stretching up, reaching up to the sky, draining down, engaging the hips, everything forward, and then releasing it over the top of the head, stepping through and cutting. So it's really an expansion on number 3. Just give it a try. Just to get the form itself. Okay, good. So I give you an alternative. If you've got a low ceiling and you've got a normal bokken, you've got a kind of shorter bokken, just go to this variation. You go into number 2. So take the position here. So basically anchor the sword down. I'm still focusing on basically elongating the spine. I've got this position rather than this position with the sword. So just go to this position. If you've got a very short, low ceiling, and then drop the hips, engage it that way. It's a slightly different movement, but you can basically follow the same set. And for those of you that are kind of doing the regular form, the normal form, just focus on one thing, which is drawing the sword to the center line of the body. So I want you to really feel like the sword anchors itself. Again, remember this position when we did this position. This is the same position. You go here, I get down, and then go. So it's really drawing, what I'm trying to do is draw the sword into the center line of the body. So you roll back and really stretch everything up. So the whole upper body goes into lengthening, width, everything's wide. And then from here, drop everything down, engage it, find the pocket, and then release. Just focusing on, for now, just a little bit of the roll.
Michael?
Hello.
Can you, you know that bit where you draw the sword, can you do it sideways to the camera? So if you're facing the sofa.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for the direction. Just here. Just that. So you go here. There. So my body's quite side on. You see this? It's really quite an angle. This way. And then as I engage down, my engagement with the head, with the hips, drops back towards the sofa. And then I cut the sofa. Goes that way.
Okay, thank you.
Got it?
Michael,
Hello.
when you draw up,
Yeah.
I've been used to drawing up a little bit over the shoulder rather than right over the middle. Is that?
Yeah, if you look at this move, it's possible to do, and then you're basically in like a hasso position. So that's possible. But in this case, think about the structure of the spine. So I think about this as one line, and I want to join the sword to that line. If you look at these photos of O-sensei doing these kind of movements, he's not really using. He sometimes uses these kind of positions, but he's mostly in these kind of positions. So he's like got dun. So so Sensei would say the feeling is like there's an old story from the Japanese, probably Naoko knows it better than me, but one of the gods, there's like a big rice, the sky's like a big rice sack, and he takes his spear and he pierces the sky with his spear, and all the rice floods down. I know Sensei would use this as a kind of metaphor for this movement, but and he would say like piercing the heavens or piercing the sky with the sword, and that basically is done better by like here, integrating the whole body as along one line. Now, if I do this and I do that, then I'm slightly away somewhere.
Okay.
Just play with it. It's possible to do it that way, but just feel like you can get. I get much more feeling of the structure of the body if it's centralized, and then I anchor it. So there's a and then I find the one, and then I find the side.
Thank you.
Play with it a little. Oh, good. So. Good. Okay, we'll just do a few at the end. This movement's really like a kokyu movement. So Saito would say it's like a kokyu, which means it's a whole body breathwork exercise. So again, it's not a practical way of cutting. And you will sometimes see this in sword fights, but hardly ever. You'll see this position. But I just want you to focus on the breath now. So try and lead the movement with the breath. You're going to breathe in, stretch everything up. As you kind of complete the breath, I want you to hold it and compress it down into the stomach. So and really lower the whole body. So you're kind of lowering the whole body. And then as you go forward, release it. Comes out. And then as you go back away, take a natural breath in and out. And then repeat the cycle. You breathe in deep through the nose. Compress it. Sink everything down. And then release it. And then take a natural breath. Play with that. We'll just do about 8 or 10. Not something you want to do for a long time. Just to finish. That's it. Really trying to have the body work with the breath work. That's it. Nice.
Hey.
It's like the only Saburi fast. Good, Kiai, good.
Really?
It's the only Saburi you can't really do fast. So you've got to do this one kind of slow, deliberate, because the breath works slow and deliberate. So you can't really speed this one up. So the cut you can speed up, but the rest of the movement really try and make it super deliberate.
All right.
Good. And this is the one when you can totally Kiai. Last few.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
to show you one thing before we finish, and it's linked to this idea of like engaging the whole body in the movement. So if you play with this later on your own, or later this week, whenever, just practice this. It's like, I want to engage the whole body through the movement. So it's linked to this idea of like linking the sword to the spine here. This, coming up, don't do that. And then when you do this movement, again, try and engage as much of the body as you can in the movement. And then try and engage as much of the body in the movement. And the more I can like gather the whole body and press it through into the movement that I'm doing in that moment, the more efficient the movement will be. And actually the more aesthetic the movement is, because the whole body will look like it's all doing one thing rather than lots of different sections doing different things. So just focus on that as basically, it's the kind of basic integration of the body, doing one thing with the whole body. Okay. Hey, domo, arigato gozaimasu.
Domo, arigato. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So we got class this evening at 6 for the UK and 7 for.
Michael, question.
Hello.
When you step back and you've got your left foot forwards, is your left foot very much directly pointing forwards, or is it slightly sort of ito-aimi?
In number 3.
In number 3, yes.
Let me see, just so I can see. Yeah, when you do this one, I don't want to be kind of locked like this. You see that position? Because again, it's like the whole body. I want it to join the movement. Now, if I do something like that, then it feels like the foot's left out. It feels like, what are you doing? So in this case, I let that foot come with me. So
okay,
this is like, okay. So it's actually aligned with the knee all the time. But if I'm in, it's possible to do that way. For me, it feels like it's totally, the legs like split from the body. So just play with it a little bit, like being front or being a little bit out. I'm going to go a little bit more. For me, it's more that position. Now, as I engage forward, I can drop into the foot. And then I'm going to follow that line into the foot. So just play with it a little bit. But for me, like if I'm like keeping that and then opening this, it's possible, but it feels like it's just is like someone else's foot. So I want to feel like it's my foot.
So it adjusts a little bit, then it adjusts back.
Yeah, just adjust as you go. This is why I'm not like a strict. I like techniques. I like technical details, but it should always be like what's the word? It should be common sense.
Yeah.
As well, like I don't want to do something just because the teacher's told me to do it as well. So I want to feel, it just doesn't feel right. I'm going to change it. Now I don't want to change it totally and then go like, oh, you've changed the form totally. But I want to change it for me. So this is also the point. It's like, I don't want to do Saito Sensei's form, and I don't want to do Lewis's form. I don't even want to do my form. I want to do the perfect form, which is somewhere, I don't know. It means the whole way to integrate itself. Now that's difficult. And to know what to change and what to not change, that's tricky. So that's a long answer.
Good luck with that.
Good luck, yeah. Good luck.
Michael,
Thank you.
Thanks
May
very
I-
much. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye.
See you
later.
Don't be late.
Don't ever listen
may I
to
ask
teachers.
for one thing?
Hello, Ellie, by the way.
See everyone tomorrow.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, I'll see you this evening.
See you later.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael,
Michael?
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm going to sign up for the 24 weeks,
Oh yeah.
but I might not do every morning because I just can't handle that.
Yeah, what you could also do is like, I mean, there's a lot of people like doing just month by month as well. So don't feel, if you want to do it still like month by month, don't feel any pressure.
I'm happy to do it for the 24. I think I'll do maybe 2 or 3 mornings.
Yeah.
And the Wednesday and the seminars, and the workshops.
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant. Okay.
Great.
See you this evening.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Michael.
You're welcome. Thanks, Nick. Looking good.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah, go Roland.
Yeah, I just want to say a wish. Please, could we please still work on the Zengo Giri?
Sure.
This is like a traumata technique for me, or there's something wrong in my head. Or
what do you think's the problem with it?
I think.
Now, if I lock the whole body and then I feel like I need to move the sword, I'll tend to go here. And it's like pulling something out. It's like,
Yeah.
bang. But try and feel that actually that rotation is like I've got the ground settled into the ground, and then I clunk, I release it. Yeah. And the more I can get this feeling of like clunk, release, clunk, release. So it's like unsticking myself. But the problem is sticking myself in the first place. I don't want to be stuck in that position, if that makes sense. So I don't want to get to a position where I feel like I'm stuck. Mm-hmm. And then to release, that's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And then say what will happen probably is like glum, 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 glum. That will kind of happen. But if I feel that I'm not actually stuck, I'm just placed into the ground flexibly, then as I release it, glum, it will just go with it. Mm-hmm. I would just play with connection. It's basically just connection work. It's like glum, glum, release it. Release it. And just play with that. Just play with that rotation, like glum, glum. And sometimes we're totally wrong. And sometimes go that. I just play with it on that level. So the problem with the form training is if we get stuck in the form training. I need to correct Zengo Giri in Zengo Giri. But you will find that the changes I need to make I can't find them in Zengo Giri. So if I get stuck on one form, the great thing about Aikido is I can switch, go somewhere else. Look at, for example, Murotadori, Kokyuho. Taina Henko, release it. Taina Henko, release it. So I'll go somewhere else in the system because I know I'm stuck. And that's the good thing. Like, it's the bad thing about archery. I'm stuck with one form, one thing, and to make changes is very difficult because I can't change the thing I'm doing. Maybe I can go left-sided. Oh, that's it. I can change the bow. Maybe I can change the arrow. I can change everything, but I can't change the actual form. But if I think that way in like Zengo Giri, like I'm stuck in Zengo Giri and I can't make the change, just change it. Forget about it. Come back to it later.
Great, Mike. Yeah, this is very helpful for me. And the last thing, yesterday evening or yesterday afternoon, I met with Thomas, and we did some shooting.
Oh, nice.
And I think about your words about being grounded. And I was thinking about to make some Aikido lessons, and I concentrate on my grounding. And the shooting was not perfect, but it was really, really nice. So
great.
Because I only think about to be in the ground and to get the power from the ground.
Yeah.
And it works.
If you look at the archery stuff, it's the same thing. And if you look at these top level Hanshi guys in Japan, they are doing the same thing. They're grounding the body, relaxed, but they're totally relaxed. You look at them in the body, like totally relaxed. They can draw the bow like nothing. And so they're doing the same thing. What I can see, they're doing a very similar thing. So for me, it's totally linked. And this is the great thing about all this kind of bodywork stuff. You can do it anywhere. Like, it's not about Aikido, really. It's about how to be. It's about how do I want to be in the world? I want to be something heavy, something flexible, something like integrated. I want to be all those things, but Aikido is a great way to train as well. But archery is super great for training those things.
Thank you very much, Michael. We see us tonight.
See you tonight. Enjoy.
Have a nice day.